So you tell me, surprisingly relevant political allegory or Judge Dredd prequel? Or both, I guess.
Or both. Yeah, I often, in my mind, conflate those two movies.
They even kind of look the same. There's one point where he's wearing like his future cop thing. I mean, is it the fucking Judge Dredd outfit? Like, what movie are we watching?
Yeah, it's true. There is a lot of similarities. We know that Stallone kind of rolls one singular line character for most of his career.
Hold on now. The man has made a couple of attempts at like dramatic turns with some success.
Yeah,
I mean, Copland.
I love Cliffhanger.
I mean, that's
Same thing.
not it. We could 100% cover Cliffhanger on this podcast, and hopefully will. All I know for sure is if this alleged utopian future is going to come true, they got about 7 years to make it happen. So they might want to get on that.
I don't know. One of the things that I found kind of fascinating watching this again, I've seen it more than once. This is one of the few movies on the podcast that's not my first go through. I had forgotten how accurate some of these guesses and predictions were for our current future.
Honestly, there is a little something there for sure.
If you're asking me which one is better, Judge Dredd or Demolition Man, my answer is this 100%. By a hot mile.
Yeah, that's not. We reviewed Judge Dredd, and let's just say there's a lot less there than there is here. Welcome to Bad Movies and Beer. I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And today for our season finale episode, we're wrapping up season 5. We're going out in a big, big way. Stallone, Snipes, Demolition Man. You wanted me to say Sandra Bullock there, but it's not.
I did. You saw the
she
twinkle
wasn't
in
a
my
big
eye.
star there yet.
She wasn't a big star yet, but this was a fun early performance for her.
Yeah, I thought so too. She's mostly there to be like the comedic foil. And we'll be talking about her role in this, along with a couple other familiar faces as well, from other Stallone and also Sandra Bullock movies. A weird coincidental universe thing here. But before we do that, as always, we have paired the movie up with a beer. And this one, I think... it's going to be beers, actually, in my case. What are we drinking today, Noel?
We are drinking today the Cryo Stash IPA by the Hop Valley Brewery.
Imperial IPA.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little strong on the alcohol. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Also, this is part of a Cryo Stash pack that we purchased in Canada. Was like available despite being an American brewery.
This is an American brewery. They're out of Eugene, Oregon, but their stuff is available across Canada. And like you said, this one pack of beers they make are all using cryo hops. And I had to look that up because I didn't really know what it was.
Trademarked.
When they're taking apart the flower, like hop is a flower, they separate something and it sort of lets them refine the bitterness profile of the hops, apparently. So they actually use like really cold temperatures to do that process. And just like in our movie, when you're freezing Stallone and Snipes, putting them in big naked men in chunks of ice, as we see later, you can get some good flavor out of also using that to freeze hops. This one says a beyond approachable, less bitter IPA, which sounds
I fucking hope so.
Right up your alley. Simcoe Cryo hops produce a perfectly smooth Imperial IPA bursting with tropical flavor and citrus aromas. That sounds delicious to me.
Yeah, and that's going to be our main beer, but then I will be attempting 2 other ones from the Cryo Pack. It was 2 sets of 3 in there. I'm also going to have the Stash Burst Hazy IPA, which are not words I enjoy when they go together, and also the Bubble Stash Traditional IPA. This is really going to put to the test the idea that I might be starting to like IPAs after a couple episodes a few weeks ago. Shocker and then Invisible Maniac, where I was enjoying the IPAs there. You were like convinced I had turned some corner. Our Superman 4 one maybe pulled that back a little bit, but now we're going to find out once and for all. So
I'm so excited to have this little test to see how, after drinking all 3 of these, you feel about IPAs. Or I'm wondering whether just having 3 of them alone will help move you towards the sort of IPA love that after drinking with me for 5 years, I feel like you should be at.
Maybe I'll find a style I like too with these 3 different styles. We'll find out. So why don't we crack open our main one here? I'll start with the Imperial IPA and we'll work our way back. Cryo Stash. Let's do it.
You're definitely going to like the other 2 after drinking the Imperial.
Maybe. We start things off with ominous music and a flyover of Los Angeles 1996, but not the one you and I remember. The Los Angeles of this movie is an absolute war zone with bombed out buildings and cars everywhere, and the Hollywood sign literally on fire. You know, so basically what America would look like right now if the Democrats had won the election. I'm kidding. We're Canadian. We have no horse in this race.
That's true. We're not really there. This is shockingly only 3 years after this movie is released.
They made some big jumps. Yeah, that's
they are
surprising.
Really thinking things are going to take a turn for the worse, or at least they have to write it that way. I do think during the late 80s and early 90s, there was definitely some like political or social unrest in Los Angeles, and that's kind of
the Rodney King verdict led to a bunch of rioting.
Yeah,
clearly.
and that's maybe what they're leaning on here. But it seems like there's a big bad who has taken over a good chunk of Los Angeles here, and they need to send the cops in to take him down.
Well, one cop specifically. You know who's not going to be afraid to rappel down into this chaos from a helicopter to save a bus full of hostages? Sylvester Stallone. He's playing the role of John Spartan, one of the city's best cops. Who am I kidding? He's the best. And he knows exactly who's behind this. It's Phoenix. Simon Phoenix, played by Blade himself, Wesley Snipes. And as we see in a moment after Stallone quickly infiltrates his warehouse hideout, Simon Phoenix is not going down without a fight. Dude pours gasoline all over the floor of the room they're in and lights it by flicking a cigarette in there.
Is it cold in here? Or is it just me?
Which makes no sense, and he just lit a giant fire.
It's already starting out really, really hot. So we are already into the action of helicopters, gunfire. Stallone's already dropping lines. Snipes already dropping lines. They're not the best lines, but they're definitely throwing it out into the world. I do like the quote about sending one maniac to go catch another. I thought that was kind of fun.
That'll pay off again later.
Heading
as well.
in, and and they're definitely doing that because they want to have a bookend later in this movie, or at least we're going to find out about that. I'm happy we're right into the action, and I can also tell immediately that this is a trap. They've sent him to rescue the hostages, but we can tell that Stallone is walking into something that our Wesley Snipes character has planned. And like you said, blows up the gas versus gun. It seems like gas wins here, although he doesn't explode. He's able to run out of that flaming gas and spear a coked up Snipes onto the table full of drugs that he was just snorting. We then get this strange, like, kind of fight in the fire before Stallone fireman carries the Phoenix character out of this burning building and it explodes behind him.
Yeah, this escalates so quickly. A wall of fire was definitely not going to stop Sylvester Stallone. He's slow-mo action hero, jumps right through it and takes him down like you said. It's so fast, which I guess is also meant to set something up later, which we'll get to. But yeah, he's not going to leave the guy in there. He's a cop. He's not a murderer. Although, as it turns out, this seems like a win on paper, but Stallone's captain, who is nice enough to drop the movie's title in here, is not happy about all the property damage he caused, first of all. So mark that on your action movie cliche bingo card. But the real problem here is those hostages. Remember them? Turns out they were inside the building when it blew up. So good luck, John Spartan. You hope you got a good lawyer.
Yeah, this does not look good for him. We get the angry captain as well. That's also a part of the action movie bingo card. So.
Absolutely. Only he's not black, surprisingly.
Yeah, that's true. But still the same
missed
angry,
opportunity, I feel.
Maybe they could have really locked that one in. That would have been like 2 in a row instead of just 2 on the bingo card is what you're saying?
Well, they check a lot off later in a row, so I wouldn't worry about that if I were them.
We're going to get there.
Definitely. Now, we see a few things here in the opening credits. First, that John Spartan definitely does not have a good lawyer. We skip the trial and go right to the sentencing here. Turns out they found him guilty as fuck and he'll be spending 70 years frozen in cryostasis. We also get to see that futuristic technology in action, but not until after they remove Stallone's prison smock, and we see that he is absolutely ripped. Good God, he is muscular here. So at least now we know that steroids are still available in the dystopian Los Angeles of 1996.
I love that you were so focused on his muscles. I couldn't get over the fact that he was naked.
Do we see his balls in the tank of water? I kind of feel like you do. He's kind of churning around, and there's a lot of ass.
It's possible. It's possible that the sack got dropped in there. It isn't that clear. The fact that we're both trying to see what we could see is an indication on the kind of humans. I think it's human nature to try to see what you can see through like the glass and the ice. That's just normal.
Sounds like you and I are guilty of meat gazing.
Hopefully our lawyers are better than his because he is not eligible for parole until 2046. And as we find out shortly when we're about to take quite a time jump, The criminal, Snipes' character, is eligible for parole much earlier than that.
Well, he only killed a few people. Spartan allegedly killed dozens, so I don't know.
He got, involuntary manslaughter of 30 people, I think they said.
That still feels like it should be less than Snipes. I don't know, whatever. Either way, with John Spartan firmly encased in what is basically like a big petri dish, we transition even further into the future now, and the warden of that same prison receiving a video call from a young lieutenant played by Sandra Bullock. Lena Huxley is her character's name, so there's our romantic lead, and we gather amid all the weird stilted future talk that part of her job is checking in on the prison to make sure nobody has escaped. The warden basically laughs this off, telling her,
"Your earnest questioning is as amusing as it is irrelevant. The prisoners are ice cubes. They never move."
I find this lack of stimulus to be truly disappointing. Don't you think?
I try not to. However, you're young. Think all you want. Things don't happen anymore. We've taken care of all that.
Yeah, try telling that to the graffiti robot who sprays "Life is Hell" all over the sign of Ethical Plaza. There's still crime. There's still crime.
Except for it was eliminated immediately by the
other robots, the anti-graffiti robots. Yeah.
It is interesting here when we transition to the future. Everyone seems kind of bored and too happy.
The bored part is real, especially for Sandra Bullock's character. She clearly became a police officer hoping for excitement and action, and there just isn't any, at least not yet.
Yeah, they're setting this up pretty well, right? She seems to be a history buff, by history, she really enjoyed life in the 1980s and 1990s. She kind of
Who didn't?
Well, that's true. She wishes she could get a feeling of what it was like then, because everything right now is obscenely clean. There's no swearing. We're gonna find out you can't eat meat.
There's a bunch of things. Yep.
We're gonna get into some of the political ramifications and how it would make you feel to live in this world as I think we get there.
Again, I think there's a lot of relevance here to the modern day. There's something. They had something. But there is something bubbling just beneath the surface of this utopia, though, literally, as a group of subterranean dwellers led by Dennis Leary, of all people, is becoming increasingly hungry and therefore desperate enough to storm the city. And why are they living underground, you ask? Because they refuse to play by the moral and ethical rules of this squeaky clean society and value their freedom above all else. And I'm just going to call them what they really are, Noel. Patriots.
I did think that you would be a big fan of this group of humans who are living underground, eating meat, smoking cigarettes, chipping off, and saying whatever they want.
That's the real utopia. It's down there in the sewers.
Down there in the sewers, except for they don't have food to feed themselves and they can't wash. And there's some aspects of that culture that aren't great. I do agree that the rights that individuals have been taken away to quite a substantial point here in the future. The doctor who has created this world really, I don't know, he has shut down any individualism.
So there is a limit to your liberal elitism.
There's a limit. Yeah, I'm not full libertarian like you and the people in this community, but we can find a happy medium.
Libertarian. I don't know, man. In all seriousness, things are so clear in this future that you can't even swear without getting fined. But if you want to talk about dangerous words, Simon Phoenix has got a couple for the warden when they thaw him out for his parole hearing. Teddy bear. This magic phrase causes the restraints in his gurney to spring open, and he quickly dispatches the guards before carving out the warden's eye to get past the prison's retinal scan. God damn. Still, the question remains.
How do you know the password to the cuffs?
I wish I knew. Simon says die.
So there's something shady going on here, but it definitely wasn't the warden who was behind it. Call me crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and keep an eye out for some slick political type with big aspirations.
Oh my goodness. They are feeding this to you so hard, so early.
This is
so plain.
Plot.
No, this plot is very, very clear. One of the things they told us when they went under is that they are going to be reprogrammed while they're frozen. It's part of that plot point where they're going to be taught to be reintegrated into society. We can tell that somebody has effed with his programming. He's now capable of reprogramming computers, and he knows escape words for the lock. Like you said, it's clear that someone has a plan, and we're going to find out almost immediately why he's busted out or who busted him out and what the purpose of that is.
Yeah, man, this massacre at the cryo prison triggers both real and figurative alarms at the police station, as despite their training, none of the officers can comprehend what they call the unsanctioned termination of human life. In fact, it's been so long since it happened, they have to look up the code for the offense, and Rob Schneider pukes. So congratulations, Lieutenant Huxley. 3 guys are dead. You got your wish.
She was complaining about how boring being a cop was right now, and so things are going to heat up quickly. I did think it was funny that it had been since 2010 since a 187 had happened. So if only that were true in the Los Angeles area, it would be pretty impressive. There's something to be said, I guess, about this world that they're creating. I think they've gone too far, but
well, you're on both sides of the fence.
I
now.
am.
You gotta pick a side
That
here.
would be great. Not having a murder since then is the violence and murder worth the ability to eat that hamburger? I don't know.
I mean, that's what's great about Demolition Man, the movie, is it makes you think.
Not about the plot, but
Not
about the
about
political
the plot.
messaging.
That's
I don't know.
right, yeah.
I noticed that one of the producers was James Herbert. Was this the
guy who wrote the Rats?
Well, that's what I was wondering. Is it
What?
the like British like horror fiction writer, or
the Rats,
is it
the
just a
source
different-
material for the movie Deadly Eyes, which is our unreleased pilot episode.
Yeah, I know. That's why when I saw it, I
hidden
had
gem.
a little twinkle in my
I'll
eye
always
there.
hold a special place in my heart.
For the Rats.
There you go. Things escalate very quickly here. Sandra Bullock checks the prison's database to see who is getting thawed for parole hearings, and an older officer immediately keys in on the name Simon Phoenix. But before this old guy, Zachary Lamb is his name, can finish telling the children all about what a bad, bad man Phoenix was, they get another computer alert about another 187. This time it's one of the cryo prison's doctors. And the worst part is it happened in the prison's parking lot. You know what that means. Wesley Snipes is on the move. Look out, Beverly Hills.
They're in more trouble than I think they understand here. I was very excited about this character who recognized Simon Phoenix because we're getting a prophetic old man here.
That's right. Right up your alley. Yeah.
Just what we need in our finale for me is the prophetic old man. I'm excited. He was actually there and knows this Phoenix character, and he's giving them some important information. The Sandra Bullock character, doing her crack police job, very quickly figures out that he probably stole the doctor's vehicle and that they can track it and figure out where he's going.
Definitely. And we see where he's going to in a moment, as after forcibly removing some soy boy from a computer kiosk, boy, they really got that part of the future wrong, right? Kiosks. Simon Phoenix quickly learns that whoever slipped that prison password into his brain also gave him a lot more than that. Dude's fingers are just flying all over the keyboard as he accesses all kinds of information and system functions that he should definitely not be able to. And he also learns that he's apparently been thought out for a very specific mission: eliminate Edgar Friendly, that underground leader played by Dennis Leary. But before we can get too deep into that, the cops arrive, 6 of them with firm tones of voice. How does this work out for them?
Very, very poorly. So
Oh, these guys are real bad.
they're terrible. The plot clearly gets completely filled in here, right? The paint by numbers is complete. We've got all the colors on the canvas. We now know that a government official has set this up so that we can release him to take out the leader of the rebellion. These 6 police officers who show up have never had to deal with a conflict situation before. They're actually asking a computer. It's kind of like a chat GPT. It's literally they're asking it and it's telling them what to do. This AI is giving them the information and it's basically telling them to talk to him in a stern voice, and it is not going well for them.
No, they get fucked up in about 30 seconds by Simon Phoenix. And Rob Schneider's got a great quote here.
We're police officers. We're not trained to handle this kind of violence.
And yeah, man, based on how this goes, it seems like he is definitely right. And speaking of being right, you'll never believe it, but some slick political type with big aspirations shows up in our next scene. He's calmly telling a boardroom of face monitors that Edgar Friendly is a threat that must be dealt with. The greatest threat, in fact, to their utopian society. Gee, I wonder if this has anything to do with Simon Phoenix's escape and him having all those mysterious skills and that whole kill Edgar Friendly mission. No, it's probably nothing.
Nah, it couldn't, right? This is the final brushstroke on the paint by numbers right here. It's completed. We're like 20 minutes into this movie, and we already have everything laid out in front of us. Did you notice when Wesley Snipes was taking out all those police officers that there was a really strange sound effects and music going
Oh,
in
the
the background?
breakdancing music?
Yeah, what the fuck was that about?
Well, he's black.
It doesn't happen in the rest of the movie, does
it's
it?
just straight up like that kind of like record scratching. He's just fucking these guys up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this seems not correct.
It made it feel like
I
a
didn't forget
video
about it.
game or something. Like it felt like a really strange interjection into this that I hadn't remembered when I watched it last time.
Yeah.
And it felt out of place even in this movie. Like it felt like the sound editor was like, can I try this on this scene? And then they just let it slip past editing.
You know what it feels like? It feels like when, and this is the only thing with movies, I guess, but if you have like a thing that was like on TV, but then they lose the musical rights to it and they have to put like some generic music, it felt kind of like
It
that.
did feel like there was a weird substitution there that didn't work.
Yeah, man.
Going back to that meeting that we met that doctor who it turns out to be the political leader.
Dr. Cocteau.
Yes, Dr. Cocteau is having a meeting, but he's having it with just computer screens
Yeah,
in a
that's what I said.
boardroom.
It's a boardroom of like
It
monitors.
is one of those moments where it was feeling like it could be applicable today.
They
Like,
got
there's
some stuff
definitely
right.
a boardroom,
They
right?
got some stuff
this
right.
is one of those where they're definitely
Yeah.
getting some stuff right. We transition, though, from there to a conversation with the police chief, right?
That's true, yes. This guy, Dr. Cocteau, leaves it in the police's hands for how they want to apprehend Simon Phoenix. And so Lieutenant Huxley wisely asked that old officer how they finally caught him back in the 20th century. He rattles off a few standard tactical efforts, 12 state manhunts, surveillance satellites, segment on unsolved mysteries. But at the end of the day, he chalks it up to one man, one Demolition Man, John Spartan. So they've got a plan, and it's real simple. Thaw out Sylvester Stallone and put him to work. Now I'm curious, where do you think we get more dripping liquid? In the lab after they melt his ice block, or at the police station when Sandra Bullock's watching those old John Spartan arrests?
Oh, well, I think there's probably an equal amount of puddle to be cleaned up after both of those situations.
Yeah, but only one of those being cleaned up by Rob Schneider.
She was getting real over his 1,000 arrests in 3 years.
Big time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she's so horny for Spartan.
Fan of Spartan. We will find out that, I don't know, the sex in the future is not very good, so she's got to get a little bit horny about the things that she can. So she wants to unfreeze him, right? And they're going to do it. They're out of options, right? Fuck it. They have to get this done. So they're going to unfreeze him. Where is the idea of unfreezing or like taking a superhero from the future to fight a supervillain? Like, this has happened in other fiction.
From the past, not from the future.
Or sorry, from the past. This has happened in other fiction. Is this something that we've seen before? It feels familiar, but I can't place it.
So much this feels familiar. Again, there's parallels here to Judge Dredd, Total Recall, so many different movies that I'm kind of like struggling to grasp.
It's just a general like 80s and 90s action vibe, that whole kind of like connection to science fiction and sort of the violence. I don't know. I feel like this has something that I can't pull out.
Well, either way, once they get John Spartan cleaned up and bring him back around, we can tell it's going to take him some time to get his bearings. He asks for a cigarette, which is highly illegal, along with alcohol, contact sports, uneducational toys, and anything spicy. But it takes absolutely no time for Sylvester Stallone to get his bearings. Dude goes right into full-on dramatic mode when he asks about his wife, who we learn tragically died in the big earthquake of 2010, then fires up at the future captain for asking him to help the same justice system that wrongfully imprisoned him in the first place. I think we've talked about this before, but there's always a section in every Stallone movie where he puts in a solid effort to earn the paycheck, and that's what we're getting here.
It's pretty good. So it is him earning a paycheck, and he's doing a good job with it.
Is he?
Well, I mean, I am buying in. This character has me believing that the old school ways of policing are going to come back here, and he's going to defeat the evil villain. He actually doesn't give a shit about this whole situation until he finds out that it's Phoenix that he needs to stop, right? And so I get that by him, right? Why would you want to come back and solve problems for people until you find out it was your old problem and you need to finish this? You got to see it through.
Yeah, the chief keeps calling him caveman also, which is a little bit degrading. But the choice between working for his jailers or going back into cryostasis is no choice at all. So Stallone quickly gets back in uniform, and we get treated as some caveman out of water comedy. Not only does his bad language cause him to keep getting fined by the profanity police, but John Spartan faces what might be his greatest challenge here in the year 2032, trying to use the restroom. Apparently, instead of toilet paper, they have these 3 mysterious seashells. And I will tell you right now that I am furious that we don't even get an attempted explanation of how they work.
Yeah, there are a few moments in this that I remembered. One of them was the seashells, and he didn't know how to wipe himself.
And they never explain
it, and that's frustrating.
Give me something.
I remembered that Taco Bell was the only restaurant.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
And we'll get to that later. And the only other thing I remembered is that they had this weird, like, helmet sex scene that's not really sex. And as a kid who watched this movie more than once, those are the 3 things that stood with me. And like you, I'm equally pissed that I have no idea how to use these seashells. I've been thinking about it, and I don't know how you wipe your ass with 3 metallic seashells.
There must be online theories about this, and we should look into it as soon as we're done recording. Well, listen, they may have brought Stallone back, but they are not going to let him have free run in the place. They've installed a tracking microchip that all prisoners now receive, and his future captain is all over him about his primitive police methods. Their computer systems already run through every possible scenario for what Simon Phoenix is going to do, and it's pretty sure he's going to set up a drug lab and establish a new crime syndicate. John Spartan, meanwhile, says the computer is fucking dumb, and that the absolute only thing Simon Phoenix is going to do is try to get his hands on a gun. Impossible, the captain says.
Resonate some understanding. The only place a person can even view a gun in this city is at a museum.
And smash cut to
museum
That's
time.
right, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. We're about to head to the Hall of Violence, my friend. What a name for a museum exhibit. Just this massive armory of old school cannons and guns and weapons, and he's hit the jackpot here. Sandra Bullock and Stallone are going to be heading to the museum because that's where they think they will find their man, Wesley Snipes, but they're going to be a little bit behind. Wesley's going to have a little bit of time to case this place out and maybe try to get a hold of some of these guns.
Well, yeah, he does find that giant weapons display, like you say, but he can't manage to punch or kick his way through it. So he's going to need another solution, but luckily a concerned museum employee shows up, and that gives Simon Phoenix his answer. He just picks this guy up and throws him through the fucking window. So Wesley Snipes is once again armed and dangerous, but he's about to become even more dangerous once he remembers he's in the future. Because after all, why settle for a regular old shotgun when you can use what he calls phaser guns?
Oh my goodness.
Well, Star Trek reference there?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few references in this. They do mention a lot of stuff, particularly the Snipes character seems to be riffing on many different things. The police are on their way now, and they hop in a self-driving vehicle, and it does not feel too dissimilar to the way we live now. I think we could be at where they are in 7 years, so we're not too far out on that one, I mean,
there are self-driving vehicles, technically.
I've been in one, and it works quite well.
Oh, bragging.
I don't own it. I've been in one. It is funny, though, the radio is channels from history, and it is now just some really bad advertisements.
It's all just commercials. It's one of the weird quirks is no one can tolerate a song that's longer than 30 seconds and not about a 20th century product.
Yeah, well, and that's sort of, I guess, how our society functions right now. Either 30 seconds is
commentary.
all we got. Yeah, that is the way that TikTok is shaping our future right now.
So no one's listening right now is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Our listeners, we love you for being able to sit through. We know that in a couple years, we're going to have to just put clips in 30 seconds.
No, fuck that. I told some fucking guy on YouTube like a few weeks ago to have a goddamn attention span. He was like, why don't you guys do video? This is dumb. Like, you're dumb, motherfucker. I didn't say it in exactly those words, but I was like, fucking,
what?
God
Nobody
forbid
wants
you
to
sit
see
still
us.
and think for.
Yeah, they wouldn't. It wouldn't improve.
I think they
the
want to see
conversation.
me.
Yeah, well, maybe you, but I don't know.
Stop it. Come on.
That actually it would be funny, but I don't think we could do it currently.
I'll tell you who people do want to see. Benjamin Bratt. That
Yes,
handsome
they
man. We didn't
do.
mention this, but he's in this little miscongeniality connection here.
I was thinking Law and Order, but
No, him and Sandra Bullock, miscongeniality.
oh yeah,
Come
no,
on.
it's true. They do have that
Yeah.
together. His character is kind of adorable, a bit of a goofus police officer. Who's
Oh
trying
yeah,
to-
he's dumb as fuck, but he's so handsome. You put up with it because he's so handsome. He's a
It
handsome
is
man.
true.
And he comes along. John Spartan and the miscongeniality crew show up armed with glow rods and enter the museum.
And they're ready to go. Now, the bad part for them is Snipes has just got a hold of this like electrical weapon, but he can't get this like future weapon to work. And he asks about a Radio Shack, which was a reference that I laughed my ass off. Somehow, when he broke into the armory, Snipes trapped himself in there. Like all kinds
Security
of things. dropped down.
protocols lowered some
So
doors.
he needs to blow himself out, and he's going to use that cannon you spoke about.
Yeah, it's there, and he full on fucking blasts it. A cannon blast is what greets John Spartan. And before you know it, we are just into a full on action scene with Stallone and Wesley Snipes battling each other through multiple floors and also eras of weaponry. There's a nice trailer bait line in here too.
I've been dreaming about killing you for 40 years. Well, keep dreaming.
Just a top-notch 90s action sequence.
Yeah, I wrote it
Yeah.
down. I love this. This scene is quite well done. It's fun. They fall into the 90s like exhibit, which is hilarious, and then they fight it out in there. The only part that makes me angry about this is while they're fighting, there's a big puddle, and the Snipes character is standing in it. And Stallone is able to like electrify the water, and the Snipes character like
With the glow rod.
Yeah, no, exactly. That didn't bother me.
Fancy futuristic cattle prod.
But the Snipes character's fine. He just like launches in the air and falls on the cab, and everything is good. I don't know. I thought that was a little bit annoying. He has a line. It talks about the brave new world, and he gets out of there. It's a little bit cheesy, but it's not the worst. Like, I'm enjoying this sequence here.
How could you not? This is, again, prime 90s action movie sequence. But we are less than an hour into this thing, so we're obviously not going to get a resolution yet. But one thing that does get resolved is whether or not that Dr. Cocteau guy is evil. He definitely is, as an exchange with Phoenix as he leaves the museum reveals that yes, Dr. Cocteau is the reason he's been thawed out, and the one who implanted the mission objective and all that future computer knowledge in his brain. But there's also something else in there, a mental block that prevents Phoenix from following through on his first impulse, which is, of course, to murder the doctor. John Spartan breaks the party up after climbing out of the museum basement, and Cocteau has to pretend like he's grateful that Stallone saved his life. And to really sell it, the doctor invites him to dinner at the future's finest of fine dining establishments, Taco Bell. And listen, I've been kind of lukewarm on this so-called utopia thing I go in here, but all these Taco Bells are a step in the right direction in my books.
Oh man, the only person who likes Taco Bell more than you
Your
I know
wife.
is my wife.
That's right. She and I have that in common. Absolutely.
You two love that.
I love to ring the bell
yeah.
early and often.
I kind of hate that this scene happens.
With him and the doctor?
Yeah, because it
Too
is
obvious?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is treating you like an absolute idiot. It is saying that it is only like it can't be 6-year-olds. It's pretty violent, but it's like 13-year-old boys are the only audience for this. You weren't going to be able to put this connection together if he did not have an interaction with the doctor, and I didn't like it. That felt a little too much for me. The invitation to Taco Bell I have no problem with, though.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine.
Sure, man. This dinner party, though, and the drive there is really just a chance for us to get more backstory in the future, which I guess would be front story. It's in front of us. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, things are a little tense at the table as Stallone's 20th century alpha energy and harrowing story of being conscious during his 36-year incarceration alienates Dr. Cocteau and his upper-class dinner guests. Still, once he spots a member of Edgar Friendly's underground army about to do something across the street and springs into action, John Spartan once again proves his value and earns the acclaim of the masses. And although he doesn't know it yet, he's also well on his way to earning a role in the sack with Sandra Bullock.
Oh my goodness. I thought it was hilarious that they put a line in this movie that made Stallone talk about the Schwarzenegger Presidential Library.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought this up. Schwarzenegger, I guess in this future, not only becomes governor, but he actually becomes president. They repeal whatever fucking thing that stops foreign-born people from becoming president, and I love that it happens because there's no one more deserving.
And the fact that they were kind of like friendly but rivals in the action movie 80s and 90s, that the people wrote that line in, so he had to compliment Schwarzenegger on that. Is a pretty big laugh to me. It was one, that they made Stallone do it, and two, that they were so predictive on his political future that I thought was pretty awesome.
They also mentioned Jackie Chan later on.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a nod there to like the other action
I
movies.
do like the way that they wrote a lot of that stuff. So dinner gets interrupted. I don't think that he was too upset because the meal they're serving at Taco Bell was like some corn on some lettuce and shit. It didn't look
Not
super
my Taco
appetizing.
Bell is what you're saying.
He goes out and he starts kicking the shit out of these underground rebel people. That is, until he realizes that they're only there because they're trying to get food. So I think this is interesting because we're getting political again, right? We're getting to question this sort of world that's been created, and who are the people who are left out in that world, and why are they fighting? And it's clear they're fighting for their survival here. One, so that they can smoke and eat meat and give jobs and stuff, but it's also because they don't have enough food.
Yeah, man of the people, Sylvester Stallone. It's not going to be mad at anyone who's just trying to eat. But we followed it up with a couple of quick scenes here that will have big consequences later on. John Spartan ruminates in the future in his daughter's life. And he has a daughter, by the way. It's weird that he didn't mention her until now. Before Huxley gives him
did.
I don't think he did, man. I remember asking about the wife and nothing else. Now he's got a daughter, whatever.
Oh, he does,
before Huxley gives him a mini disc containing footage he asked for that we don't yet get to see, based on another one of his famous hunches. Meanwhile, at Dr. Cocteau's house, Simon Phoenix is also getting a present. The doctor agrees to thaw out some more dudes for him so he can deal with Sylvester Stallone and complete his mission. We didn't talk about this earlier, but the doctor has a bad case of smartest guy in the room syndrome, so knowing how this all plays out, I don't mind what's coming here.
He is a very annoying character. They make that, I think, intentional. He is very douchey, and it's easy not to like him. The Phoenix character, Wesley Snipes' character, is very easy for him to convince the doctor to let 6 other guys go. And we know that these 6 other guys are going to also want to take out our main character here. They're going to want to go after Stallone. There's no way that they're going to be fans
How could they be?
No, absolutely.
Phoenix
He
is
put
gonna tell
most
him.
of them away, right?
That's
Thousands
right.
of
That's
people.
what we find out.
And
yeah.
those thousands of arrests that wet Sandra Bullock's loins earlier are going to come back here as they get back to their dwelling or house.
Well, speaking of Sandra Bullock, it's time to head over to her 20th century themed apartment now for a little nightcap. She's still revved up after seeing Stallone in action and suggests they have sex, and that's before seeing him in his sleeveless leather karate gi. Turns out she heads off to...
He's got some thick arms.
Yeah, man. She heads off to freshen up and returns carrying a metal case, which I assumed was filled with sex toys. And I guess it is, but not in the way that you, me, or John Spartan was hoping for.
Absolutely not. She turns down the lights. She comes back in just a robe. And when she opens up this big metal case, which looks like it was going to be a lot of fun, she pulls out 2 helmets. And these helmets kind of fit on the back of your head. They don't even cover your full head, and you just put them on there. And she sits down, and with this strange music on and the lights dimmed and both of them slightly less stressed than they were before, she closes her eyes, and we get some really weird, trippy, like scramble porn kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like this virtual reality rave strobe light effect of like them. It's a bunch of moaning and weird flashing images of like Sandra Bullock with her mouth open.
It felt
which
like
I'm not complaining about, but like it's not.
Cable porn.
Something
with-
was missing.
Yeah,
it was
not
penetration. It was
Yeah.
physical penetration.
Any physical touch would have been probably pretty nice at this
fluid
point.
transfer?
Oh, no way.
Jesus Christ, Noel! What are you proposing?
So he is definitely turned off by this, as any like normal red-blooded human being would be.
Oh, you heard him, nerds. Your VR sex life is
It was not working.
Noel has
for
no
him.
truck for your VR sex life.
No, not in place of real touching. I feel like they was missing out on this one.
You're alienating all the incels that make up our primary audience.
Oh my god.
Love you, incels. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we fucking
What?
don't.
Well, hang on. I'm not going to disparage anyone who just can't fucking get
I mean,
laid.
I'm fine with you making whatever choice you want, but don't blame others for that situation. Is my
But
problem.
what if it's their fault? You've learned nothing from Demolition Man. No. No. Stallone tries to win her over with his charisma and raw sexual energy, but Lena Huxley is too prudish to take the plunge. At least she is right now. So she kicks him out. But on the bright side, that'll give him time to review that footage she gave him earlier, which he does after first getting interrupted by a wrong number video call of a naked lady looking for some guy named Martin. So I guess some people are still fucking.
Yeah, what was with this weird random naked insertion here?
Chance to put boobs in the movie.
Had
Come
to
on.
happen, right?
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, we could have done with a little more, I guess. One thing in this movie.
I knew it.
Well,
5
after we-
seasons. It took us 5 seasons to get here, and finally he admits it.
There could have been a little more nudity compared to like The Invisible Maniac, right? Like this lacked a little bit comparatively.
If you say so. Anyway, the footage shows the Phoenix Cocteau encounter from earlier, and Stallone takes a long look at it while also knitting Sandra Bullock a sweater. That was a bit of a curveball.
Yeah, apparently his reprogramming involved needlework. I'm not sure. It's interesting how they reprogram everybody to see. It's at this point they decide to check out how much Phoenix was reprogrammed and what kind of reprogramming he received, and it's quite informative when they hack into this computer.
Fuck, dude, you're not kidding. Yeah, it turns out the whole knowing how to knit thing was a hobby implanted in Stallone's brain during cryo-freeze. Behavioral engineering, they call it. And in a car the next day, he correctly laments the fact that Simon Phoenix seems to have come out a bit ahead on that front.
I come out of cryo prison and I'm Betsy fucking Ross. If Phoenix comes out and he can access computers, operate all vehicles, knows the location of every damn thing in town, and is 3 times stronger than when he went in.
That's funny and accurate, but he has no idea how big the gap is until Lieutenant Huxley brings up Phoenix's file on the car's computer, and we learn that in addition to his training with the future's computer systems and security overrides, Dr. Cocteau also pumped him up with all kinds of weapons and explosives training, martial arts, and torture methods. He also made Phoenix even more violent, which, at a certain point, you're just eating to eat, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're getting a little bit overboard on this one.
Does he need more?
No, I think he already had the tools to kill the leader of this rebellion, but, now that they know that the doctor is the one who's behind all of this, what are Sandra Bullock and Stallone going to do about it? Are they going to go to the rest of the police and make a plan to try to take him down? Are they going to go to the rebellion? Or are they going to go put a gun in the face of this doctor?
What would you do if you're Sylvester Stallone? You handle this shit face to face, dude. Stallone connects the dots and immediately heads over to Cocteau Industries to confront the doctor about the whole making a maniac worse and letting him loose on an unprepared future thing. And this is actually a pretty cool scene with Stallone getting increasingly angry at and eventually shooting the boardroom monitors that Cocteau's face is on before the doctor's assistant's look to the side gives away the fact that he's actually in the building, leading to a more direct conversation. Dr. Cocteau denies all wrongdoing, of course, and orders Lieutenant Huxley to take Spartan back to the cryo prison. But there's one thing he didn't count on. When it comes to catching Simon Phoenix, Huxley is just as eager to do it as Stallone is. Just listen.
I'm with you. Let's go blow this guy.
Away. Blow this guy away.
Whatever.
I actually wrote down the blow this guy line.
She's
too. It's pretty
adorable.
funny. Yeah, the doctor and the head of the police force are telling them to sort of put Stallone back into the ice, but she's not going to be willing to do that. She's got a taste of the real action, and not the physical action that she's probably going to get a little piece of later, but the real police action. And so she's decided that they can't leave this case open and that they need Stallone to get there. So they're about to go after him. What are they going to do, though, before they have a conflict with Phoenix? What's their next angle?
Well, they're going to take it to the sewers, but I think that's also to have the conflict because Stallone knows that Phoenix is most likely going to be down there to avoid detection from the police or to kill Edgar Friendly or both. But even legendary detective John Spartan has got to eat, and when he gets a whiff of the sweet smell of barbecue, he can't resist making a quick stop. Plus, they've got beer, and all you have to do to get it is listen to Dennis Leary basically do a spoken word version of the Asshole song in real time.
I didn't make that connection. But
Are
that's
you
not
kidding
wrong.
me?
Yeah, you're right. Dennis Leary just being Dennis Leary here.
Yeah, I want to eat red meat. I want to smoke cigarettes. I want to, I want high cholesterol.
Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong at all. He is the right person to be leading this libertarian front. That you would have your flag
Easy casting,
planted.
you're saying.
Yeah. You would have been in
Me?
this gang. Oh yeah, this is your
I don't
kind
know,
of
it's
messaging.
a little dirty.
You must have enjoyed, other than the dirt of it and the eating rat burgers, you would have been all about this.
I think I would have been living on the surface, but then going down in the sewer to get the burgers and beer and just coming back up and living my clean
You
life.
missed 1B, but that's okay.
What was it? What was it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, exactly.
So we transition from this speech from Leary, really just singing his song, and we head over to Snipes, and he has got his crew assembled. Those 6 guys have been released, and all of them angry at our Stallone character for putting them away. They're going to get their vengeance. They're going to go take him out, and they're going to take out the head of this sort of rebel army.
I was going to say, it does not take long for Stallone and Dennis Leary to become friendly, and it takes even less time for Simon Phoenix and his gang of goons to interrupt things by firing many, many machine gun rounds and hitting absolutely nothing. Did these guys go to the Death Wish 3 bad guy school of firearm training or what?
Felt more commando-like to me,
They
but
can't
I know
hit shit.
It's a lot of terrible shots. At least you see them hiding. It's not like the characters from Death Wish just walking in the middle of a street and not getting hit by anything.
Yeah, man. Somehow this all ends up with Spartan and Phoenix in a car chase. Phoenix in Sandra Bullock's cop car and Stallone in a 1970 Oldsmobile 442 that he brought to the surface in an old freight elevator that, for comedy purposes, crashes up through the floor of a 2032 Oldsmobile dealership. So I guess they got that part wrong too, huh?
This was silly fun. I did enjoy this.
How does an elevator go
through,
above the limits of the elevator shaft?
mean, in this world, I think almost
It is
anything
possible?
is possible.
Yeah.
It seems it was kind of a fun joke that olds came crashing through the new one. Like you said, not really in existence anymore, so that was a loss for them. But this car chase is not a loss for the viewer. This is kind of silly fun. I like this. We've got this modern police car, and then we have this like classic muscle car, and they're driving around. It was funny to see Stallone tell Sandra Bullock to take the wheel. She's never driven a gas car before. She has no idea what's going on here.
Picks it up quickly though.
She does.
Yeah.
He almost falls off the car when she first starts to drive, but she picks it up rather quickly. It must have been all that research she did.
Yeah, man.
Research in air quotes. That's just porn to her, I think.
She identified the car though when they were down below surface. She knew exactly what it was and listed off like the specs and everything.
Yeah, she definitely knows. But so Stallone's move here is he's going to climb on the car. He's going to get her to get close, and he's going to dive across onto the other car.
Yeah, man. No, he basically just ticks off most of the boxes in the 90s action movie car chase checklist here. He does ride on the outside of the car, jumps from one car to the other, hangs on by one hand, and eventually crashes right into the police station fountain after wiping out their signs. Sly Stallone, playing the hits.
He does it all. And that was also after chucking Phoenix out of the moving car.
Which does not count. kill him.
No, he survives it. He survives being electrocuted. He survives getting thrown out of there. Maybe it was the conditioning in the ice that makes him extra strong here. I don't know. It's kind of bullshit. But he crashes into the police fountain here, and we get some like future save him technology in that this like safety foam comes out and like fits him in there. We also get some dramatic music as Sandra Bullock pulls up and runs to the car. She thought she lost him. And she even says a comment here I think is funny. She says, "I thought your life force had been terminated." A little throwback to one of our earlier episodes.
Oh, God, I love life force, yeah. No, I think you mentioned maybe it being the future condition that spares Snipes. I think this needed to get him into our final showdown here, and that's all this was. And we are well on our way to that after Simon Phoenix kills Dr. Cocteau thanks to a delightful loophole. So they put a block in his mind to stop him from killing the doctor, but they didn't remember to do it for those other guys they thought out, so Jesse the Body Ventura does the honors. Now, for a minute here, it looks like John Spartan might not make it to that big showdown, as his own captain tries to place Stallone under arrest for so many things, really. But after completely ignoring his instructions, Sandra Bullock puts the button on things with another one of her trademark mix-ups.
You can't leave. You're under arrest. This very concept negates the possibility of your leaving.
Skip it, Chief.
Chief, you can take this job and you can shovel it.
Like Stallone says, that's close enough.
It was close, yeah. So they've both quit the force now. I think the thing that he was in trouble for was being the Demolition Man. He has just destroyed everything in this
He has
movie.
demolished a lot of things.
So Stallone and Bullock need to show up and infiltrate the doctor's place. No longer the doctor's place, though. Now it's Phoenix's place. He's taken over. And when they get there, they're immediately attacked by two of these thugs who've been frozen or unfrozen, those ex-icicle thugs.
Yeah, and they make short work of them. But they have arrived too late to stop the murder of Dr. Cocteau, although they are hopefully there in time to stop the next part of Phoenix's plan for overall mayhem and the downfall of society. He's going to thaw out the entire cryo prison. Things are getting serious now, and that means John Spartan is going to have to take things up a notch. Luckily, he's been keeping a secret weapon back for exactly this purpose, something that'll give him the edge he needs to defeat the artificially enhanced murder monster known as Simon Phoenix. It's his lucky hat!
The beret. He's got his beret back. He puts it on, and he drops a line here about the maniac
to catch a maniac.
Oh, I do like it. So we have that nice throwback, and we're going to have a shootout here, and it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, man. Before you know it, Stallone and Wesley Snipes are battling each other in the cryo lab. Snipes grabs him with one of the prisoner loaders. It's basically a giant claw game from those amusement parks. And Stallone has to rip out one of the cryo tubes to freeze and then punch his way through a giant steel arm. Then he has to swing on a cable like a gassed up New York Tarzan before dodging Wesley Snipes' freeze gun. But even though he does all of these things with ease, the one thing John Spartan apparently can't do is beat Simon Phoenix in a fistfight. So it's especially lucky then that a bunch of the liquid they dunked the guys in before freezing them ended up on the floor, and that there just happens to be some kind of cryo rod with a chemical freezing agent in it right next to him, and that another one of those giant claws just happens to be passing overhead right as Phoenix is about to kill him. You know, that old setup.
A lot does happen to go right here. I don't think it's another claw. I think it's the same claw is still spinning.
Oh, minus one of the three prongs.
Yeah,
maybe,
exactly.
yeah. Okay.
So I think he grabs that one, but you're right. He does have to have this chilling liquid all over the floor, and he does need that sort of activator that's in the other rod. But thinking quickly, he smashes that activator into the bottom and jumps up and grabs in the nick of time so that the Phoenix character gets frozen from foot to head. And he is sort of, okay, here, what does he do or say as he finds Phoenix frozen in this situation?
Well, you mentioned foot to head. He's still swinging on that claw, and as it happens to circle back around, he yells, "Heads up," and then kicks off Wesley Snipes' like liquid nitrogen frozen head, just snaps off and shatters on the ground.
We get like these crystals of redness to show where the blood would have been as the head goes. And,
yeah, man.
Oh my goodness, everything starts falling apart now, though. Both the body of the Phoenix character, Wesley Snipes, and the rest of this building starts to implode on itself. We are going to have another run out of this building as it explodes shot. One at the start, one at the end.
They're bookending it, man. I love it. Yes. Having successfully killed Phoenix and blown up the cryo prison, which I guess wasn't technically part of the plan, but Dennis Leary likes it. John Spartan emerges from the rubble ready to help the underground and surface-dwelling societies point a compass towards the future. But his own compass, meanwhile, is pointing firmly towards Sandra Bullock, and he pulls her in for a kiss that she happily reciprocates after confirming that all fluid transfer activities are at least that fun. And secure in the knowledge that he can basically do whatever he wants with Lieutenant Huxley because she won't know what's normal, Stallone sends us out with this line.
I think I'm gonna like the future.
Now that you've demolished everything.
But there's just one thing I want to know. How's that damn 3 seashell thing work?
And they never tell us.
Yeah, leave it as a cliffhanger. We head out into the credits and we have a theme song sung by Sting.
Was that Sting?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I did not recognize that. That was a terrible fucking song. That one is not making the Sting Greatest Hits album. I can tell you that right now.
Probably not on there, but yeah. So we get some good 90s as we head out there.
I would not call that good 90s. However many millions of dollars they paid Sting, they could have used that for something better in the budget. Give Jesse Ventura some lines. That'd be something.
That would be helpful for you. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And that's it. We get this horseshit Sting song and we're into the credits. And I gotta say, like, I haven't seen this probably in, God, it might have been like 20 years. In a lot of ways, it was like better than I remembered. And again, like surprisingly relevant for the world we find ourselves in today.
I tried to tell you this was good. I tried to tell you before we did this that I had fond memories of this movie. But like so many of the other movies we've watched on this podcast, that doesn't always stand up.
Killer Clowns, Total Recall with Colin Farrell.
Yeah, what a great movie.
Batman and Robin.
That's not a great movie. Oh my goodness.
No, man. I don't feel as bad about this as I feel about Top Gun. Like, I feel like that has not held up as well. But I will say, I have some mixed feelings as we get into our ratings here. Why don't we do that right now? One last time this season. The way we always do this, rate the movie on a scale of 1 to 10 2 times. 1 to 10 for how bad it is. 1 to 10 for how enjoyable. And the goal is to find movies that are a 10 out of 10 on both scales, or what we call the Crit 20. And for me, I thought long and hard about this, and I am not totally convinced this is actually a bad movie.
Wow.
I don't think it's a good movie in the sense that can any movie where Stallone is just running through the action hero cliches be considered a good movie? Like, so much of this is just patently ridiculous. And I guess you can chalk a little bit of that up to the whole like sci-fi, the future can be anything ethos. I don't know if that's an ethos or not, but some ridiculous action sequences. Snipes is dialed up just like way over the top here. Stallone, other than the brief moments of drama he shows upon thawing out of the ice, really is just kind of, like I said, playing the hits. And so I'm just going to play it safe and say it's a 5. I'm going to right in the middle. I think it was the same number I had for Top Gun, but this still feels worse to me somehow. I'm just going to go with a 5 because I'm really on the fence in this one. How did you feel?
I similarly hadn't watched this in probably 20 years, but I definitely had watched this more than once when I was a teen, and I have fond memories of it. I remember enjoying it. I did think that there were aspects of this that were bad. I didn't like how telegraphed it was and that they treated the audience like idiots. I've complained about that quite a bit on some of the movies we've watched together. I thought the Snipes character was overdone in some of his quips and lines. I thought him more than anything else. A bit of the sci-fi didn't connect, but some of it really did connect well. I thought some of the explosions didn't look
it's always a tricky area
real,
for you. Yeah.
Or they were just like out of nowhere.
Okay.
And I also thought some of the music, like the strange stuff put in during the one fight scene or some of the other background music, was a little bit off. Like you, I didn't have it as a really bad movie, but I did keep it within, I guess, our bad rating. I had it as a 6.
Wow, you thought it was worse than me?
I had it worse than you, yeah.
Interesting. All right. But how enjoyable did you find this movie on a scale of 1 to 10?
I kind of already previewed that a little bit, said I had fond memories of this, and I think some of that nostalgia stayed. This wasn't one of those movies that I remember liking as a kid and then was disappointed when I watched later. I enjoyed watching it again. I thought the action was well done. I thought most of the sequences were well organized and fun and paced well. I thought Stallone and Bullock did a really good job together. I thought that the predictions about the future were fun. Seeing some of the stuff that really did come true was interesting. And
that's fun in any movie like that, I find.
I think that works well, right? And then I thought that some of the messaging fit really well with where we are today. So I ended up leaving this with a 9.
Okay.
With a 9. So I'm finishing our season 5 with a 69. Imagine how many people in 2032 would feel about that kind of fluid transfer.
Oh my God. It's good. We're going out the way we came in here with fucking ninja in the closet of the CIA and all that sexuality. No, man. You know what? I have the exact same rating as you. I also had it as a 9. I enjoyed the hell out of this while we were watching it, but there were a couple things that stopped it from being a 10 for me. One of them was Snipes kind of chewing the scenery, being a bit over the top. It just at times kind of drifted into almost like a campy, cartoonish portrayal that took me out of it a little bit. I also didn't love all of like the Stallone fish out of water stuff. It felt kind of shoehorned in. Like, I guess you need to have some of that, but it just went at times a little too far for me.
Be honest, this is just because they didn't explain the shells.
That also, that legitimately damaged my enjoyment of the movie. I was just like, how can they tease us with this and give us nothing? But no, what a great fucking time watching this. Better than I remembered. I will happily watch this again, and probably not too far in the future. I'm not going to let it be under 20 years, because whatever I thought of this movie when I watched it 20 years ago, I underestimated it, and I enjoy it more now which is weird.
That's pretty cool.
More of an adult.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
No, man, really enjoyed it. How did you feel about this beer?
Yeah, the Cryo Stash
Imperial
IPA from Hop Valley. I thought it was really smooth. I was a little worried because it was an Imperial that it was going to have really strong alcohol flavors, but no, it really had a very citrusy forward flavor. The hops were not extremely long lasting in their bitterness. It was just that nice balance to some of the other sweetness in the beer. I really enjoyed it. I would try that one again, or I would go back to that.
Yeah, man. And you did try one of the other 3 that were in this pack. You had the hazy IPA, and you thought that was kind of like a standard West Coast.
Yeah, I actually like this one better than the hazy one, I think. Out of the 2, if you're trying the cryo pack, I like the Imperial one better, I think.
That's fair. I will agree with you that the Imperial IPA was very smooth, like surprisingly so. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I did.
Yes.
That's another one.
Yes.
And as I worked my way through the cryo pack, I also enjoyed the hazy IPA, which did not, you know what I think it was? I expected like a Northeast style hop bomb in my fucking
mouth. In your mouth.
You always say.
Yeah, I love it when you have to say
shit.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it was not that. It was a more citrusy, like less hoppy taste. Weirdly, the one I liked the least was the just regular IPA.
Interesting.
Which I don't know if that's because I'll be curious to see like when you try that one, if it does taste more like a Northeast IPA or whatever it is. But that one, I worked my way down in terms of the ABV, and that one was the most disappointing. So, I mean, 2 out of 3. Who knows what this means for the future? It ain't bad. We know
that ain't bad.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We'll have to leave this up to season 6 to see if I'm actually becoming a guy who likes IPAs. I hope it's not
I'm going to
true.
be interested to see if any IPA makes it on your top 5 this season as we go into
the
let's
summer
just
break. Ease into things here. I don't think you never know.
Don't get my hopes up that high.
But yes, no, we are going to enter our summer break after a pretty solid 5th season, I feel. It's a few crit 20s in here and some, again, just glaringly overt sexual content that is not for everyone, but that's our wheelhouse. So, and season 6, we're gonna come back again, do some more of that. Before then, if you have not already, please follow us on social media at the BMB Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. We will be posting some top 5 like best of lists, some clips, probably a bonus episode at some point in there, and maybe some previews of what's to come next year.
Yeah, if you have any suggestions for beers or movies you'd like to see us try to combine together, or figure out something that works for our 6th season, email thebmbpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, or slide into the DMs of our social media. We've already got a couple requests lined up, ready to go, but we're always looking for more, and cannot thank you all enough for joining us here for our 5th season. Even if you just checked out an episode or 2, we're glad you decided to spend a little time listening to us and checking us out. And if you enjoyed it, tell a friend, give us a rating on wherever you get your podcasts, give us a review, smash that subscribe button, something.
On YouTube, where all of our stuff's on YouTube now too. If you're listening on one of your podcasts, feel free to subscribe.
Audio only though. Fuck that guy who was
sorry. We got some requests for some visual. We record in our underwear. You don't want to see what that looks like. Sorry.
Underwear at most. No. Thank you again for joining us for our 5th season. We hope to see you back here in September for season 6. But until then, I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And we'll see you next time on Bad Movies and Beer.
Be well and use the 3 shells.
The future isn't big enough for the both of them.